Today, we are going to figure out for you if you are going on your first cruise or if you've been on many cruises, what's the best cruise line for you? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, John here from Bite Cruises. Welcome to our channel. If you are new here, we're a travel agency. Our goal is to give you the best information possible about cruising so that you can plan and go on an amazing cruise vacation. Today, we are going to get into the age-old question, what's the best cruise line for me? I started thinking about this from a first-time cruiser perspective. So if you are a first-time cruiser, this is going to be a great video for you to kind of try to start mapping out what the best cruise line might be for you. I'm also going to put in the description a little quiz that we have that you can run through and you can figure out what the best cruise line or the best itinerary is for you. There is nothing that you have to do in order to do that. You don't even have to put your email in. You could skip it unless you want to. There's no fee. There's no course we're trying to sell you. It's just a fun video to try to figure out what may be the best cruise line for you. So let's talk about the differences as you're coming into this and you're thinking, okay, I've now decided that everyone's talking about cruising right now. Maybe I should go on a cruise. What's the best cruise line for me? So when we talk about it, there are some contemporary cruise lines. The contemporary cruise lines, in my opinion, these are like the kind of most popular ones. So if you were looking at your kind of shopping, like your Targets, your Walmarts, the things that everybody knows about, your Dunkin' Donuts, your Starbucks, whatever, right? So you have your Carnival, you have your Royal Caribbean, you have your Norwegian Cruise Line. I'm lumping them slightly together. I will talk about slight differences. And then coming up is MSC. Those are the four I generally put together. These are all opinions. You can formulate your own opinions. You can watch 1,000 videos. I'm just giving you my opinion. Off to the side, in that contemporary space, I'm going to have Disney. Disney is not quite contemporary. I think their services are different enough that they're kind of in their own little category over here, and we'll talk about them separately. NCL, I think, could be slightly different, but they keep pushing themselves into that contemporary group, so I'm going to keep them there for now. Next up, we have our elevated group, or maybe you would call it premium group. And in there, I'm going to have Celebrity, I'm going to have Princess, and I'm going to have Holland American. I'm also going to add one more in there that I don't think completely fits in there, but for our intents and purposes, let's do it. Virgin Voyages. Very small, adults only, but let's talk about it. And then obviously if it's your first time cruise, these are going to be the ones that you're looking at the most. But let's talk about some of the other little slight outliers. You're going to have Regent Seven Seas. These are going to be luxury, and then we can get into ultra luxury, but these luxury brands are going to be those, Oceania, Silver Sea, you're going to hear some of those names. So that's going to put you in the luxury, and then of course you're going to have Four Seasons and Ritz-Carlton and all these other fancy ones. And then completely over to the side, we're going to have river cruising. So you're going to have your Viking, your Celebrity coming on in river cruising, your AMAs, all those other ones. Forget about those from now. We're talking about ocean cruising. So if you are new to cruising and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I would like to go on a cruise and I like to do specific things. Let's get into those things. Maybe you like to drink and party. Maybe you are a little bit of a foodie. Maybe you love entertainment. Maybe you are looking for just complete and utter relaxation without children. Let's talk about these. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'm new to cruising, I'm fairly young, or I'm a little bit older, I just want to go and party, have a good time, maybe do a short cruise to start out with a 3 or 4 day cruise, you are going to be mostly looking at Carnival and maybe a little bit of Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean is really coming into this first-time cruiser market hard at the moment. They're competing very much to grab new cruisers as all this new cruiser real estate is out there. And what they're doing on a lot of their voyages, especially on some of their premium ships, the biggest ships, is they're doing shorter voyages, which are geared towards new cruisers and people who like to party. So if you are interested in a quick getaway, these are the ones you're going to lean mostly towards. Carnival, Royal Caribbean. Things to keep in mind. Carnival, going to be a lot of partying. You're going to see fun things. It's going to be wild on the pool deck. So the food, you're going to have some good food experiences. There are great specialty dining restaurants depending on which ships you go to. And then when you're thinking about this, the other thing you want to think about is how many people do I want to be around? Do I want to be on one of these new, large, latest and greatest cruise ships where there's a ton of bars, a ton of restaurants, great shows, maybe You know, when we're talking about Royal Caribbean ice skating rinks, aqua theaters, Broadway musicals, all those crazy things. So if you're strictly looking to party, maybe you want to be around less people, you're going to look at older ships from Carnival and Royal Caribbean. Still going to find great amenities. If you are thinking about partying and those shorter cruises on a larger ship, you're going to lean towards the new Excel class for Carnival, Mardi Gras, Celebration, Jubilee, those ships, or some of the new larger ships for Royal Caribbean, like some of the ships that are doing shorter cruises now, Allure, Harmony, Utopia of the Seas. So you're going to start looking at those for things that you would like to do. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I'm not really down with the party crowd, but I would like to go on something maybe the same length or a little bit longer, maybe a 4 or 5 day cruise, but I don't want it to be strictly partying. I'm fine if there's some partying going along. And on those original ones, you're going to be going to the Bahamas mostly. You're going to be just, you know, jumping out from Florida for the most part. So Miami, Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, I almost wanted to say Port Everglades and got stuck with Fort Everglades. So Port Everglades or Fort Lauderdale. And then if you move up to the, like, I don't want to really do these party, but I want to do something really cool and interesting, and I want to stay in that same range, you could still stick with Carnival. You're still going to get a little bit of the party vibe if you go on like Jubilee, but it's going to be maybe a 7-day cruise, and you're going to have a little bit of a longer itinerary down to like Mexico. If you're leaving out of Galveston, Texas, or if you're leaving out of Florida, you can hit some more of the Caribbean down there, St. Thomas, St. Martin, which would be your Eastern Caribbean. You could do a little Western Caribbean and do your Mexican voyages, Dominican Republic. You can go again south of the Caribbean, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but that's going to give you a little bit of a different vibe. So if you're staying in that shorter cruise or maybe slightly longer, but you definitely want to drink and party, those are your options. If you're saying to yourself, I want the best entertainment possible, I have kids, I have a family, I like to drink a little bit, but most of my priorities are going to be on things to do around the ship, more of the ship being the destination. I want my kids to go in the kids club. I want them to have a great time. Number one, we're going to start with our little off the side brand, which is Disney. Here's the deal. Disney's going to be expensive. So if you're into that, you have your family unit here, you guys go to Disney all the time, you know what to expect, you know that it's going to be expensive, you're going to slide right into that Disney World. If you are thinking to yourself, hey, I like that Disney vibe, but it seems like it's crazy expensive, that's because it is, maybe I'm going to stick with something over here. Carnival's going to give you a family atmosphere, a lot more partying and drinking, but great things going on board on the ship. You're going to have shows, a bunch of fun things, a roller coaster on some of the ships, great kids clubs. And then Royal Caribbean is going to be where you're really going to shine here. You have your ice skating shows. You have your aqua theater shows. You have very robust kids club. If you go on a newer ship like Icon, you have an amazing deck just for families, where you have your own little buffet restaurant. You have your own little small Surfside Bites area where you can get churros and ice cream and fun things during the day. And there are tons of water slides on the newer ships. Same with Carnival, water slides. But you're getting these amazing shows, things to do, a bunch of things going on, parades during the day on the promenade, and all of your fun things, plus your family environment. Your larger Royal Caribbean ships are really going to be great for that. Icon, Utopia, any of the Oasis class ships, like Oasis, Allure, Harmony, Symphony, any of those. And then you can start even looking at slightly older Royal Caribbean ships if you want to take your family and go balling on a budget. Maybe you're Mariner of the Seas, your Navigator of the Seas, Navigator in Los Angeles, Mariner still over here on the East Coast. You have those options. And remember, if you are up in the Northeast, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, you are going to have some options there as well. If you're leaving out of Bayonne, we have Liberty of the Seas right now, a little bit of a smaller ship than the Oasis class, but still a very big ship. And you're getting Symphony this year, Oasis next year, up out of the Bayonne area in New Jersey. And then we have some other cruise lines leaving out of New York. We'll get into those in a minute. But those are your options there. If you are heading out with your family, you could also choose something a little more mellow, like Norwegian. You want to have a family vibe, but maybe not have it really catered to kids, where it's kids everywhere. Great kids club program. You're going to have fun things to do around the ship, maybe racetracks, virtual reality arcades, A bunch of fun things going on. Like I said, the kids clubs are very good, but maybe not all the hustle and bustle that you would find on a Royal Caribbean ship. You're not going to have an aqua theater, ice skating, all of those things. So that's another route you could go. If you go the route of Norwegian, you're going to have more things included that you could pay for up front. So you're going to get unlimited drinks. You're going to get some specialty dining if you like that, where you have to pay for those things outside of your cruise fare if you're going on Royal Caribbean. You could also look a little bit at MSC, which is our fourth outlier. Good kids club programs. Again, lots of fun things to do on the ships, especially the New World America ship, where there's slides and a bunch of crazy shows and fun things going on. But still, I would lean Royal Caribbean, Carnival, families there, and Disney if you want to spend a ton of money. And then your secondary choices, Norwegian and MSC, maybe based upon where you're at. MSC has a ship up in Brooklyn, which is Merivilia. Norwegian has a constant rotation of ships out of New Jersey, so you get to go on those. We have Getaway right now going out of New Jersey. You're going to have Bliss coming up here in a little bit to go out of New York as well. I think I said Jersey, but I meant New York. So that's those. Now let's take a step back and forget about families and just say, hey, we're a couple and we're not really interested in children. They don't drive us crazy. We're fine with kids being on the cruise, but we like food. We like to have a nice little more elevated night out. Then we're gonna bump you up into that Norwegian MSC environment. You're gonna get really good food, a little less hustle and bustle going on, still really good shows, great entertainment around the ship, tons of things to do. You'll have those. You could still go Royal. You can still have a blast on Royal Caribbean on any of the ships. I just got off of Icon. It's amazing and incredible. And if you like the ship to be the destination, you're not so much concerned about, I want to go to these beautiful islands and I want to see so much culture. Nope, we're going to stick you there. You're going to have a ton of things to do on the ship. You're going to go to some private islands, hit a little bit of the Caribbean where the ship is nicer than probably a ton of the places that you're thinking about, like, do I want to get off? Do I not want to get off? I think I'm just going to stay on the ship and enjoy all the amenities. You could totally do that. If you're thinking about, hey, I want to get to these beautiful places and see some really cool stuff, the ship's still important to me, dining's important to me, Norwegian, MSC. If you're thinking, I don't want to see kids at all, Virgin Voyages. All of their ships are exactly the same. They have 4 ships now. The 4th is coming out. They're scattered around a little bit, but mostly in the Florida area. You're going to get to go to the Southern Caribbean, Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, all beautiful islands. A little less of the ship is the destination. All of your food is included. You don't have to worry about that. You will pay for a bar tab for your drinks. They're a little cheaper than they are on other cruise lines. And you will have a great time, kid free. No children at all are allowed on the cruise. It is just grown-ups. That also is going to give you a slightly different vibe. Maybe a little more of an adult party vibe than the kind of younger adult kid drinking heavily party. A little more of a refined partier drinking vibe on Virgin. You're still going to have a ton of fun, ton of cool shows, interesting things going on. A little more unconventional cruising, let's say, but adults only. If you are an adult and you are thinking about going on a cruise and you don't really want to be around a ton of kids, but you want elevated food experiences and you want to go to amazing destinations like Alaska, like the Canal, if you would like to go to Colombia or South America or Europe, then we're going to push you in the direction slightly of some of the more refined premium brands like Celebrity, like Holland American, which is very much known for a lot of their food. Celebrity has amazing food. Princess has amazing food. You can get more all-inclusive packages with some of these brands, particularly with Celebrity and Princess. You can pay a little extra and get your drinks, maybe some gratuities, Wi-Fi included. Princess has really cool technology, very much upscale dining where you could do amazing restaurants and add-on specialty things that are very special. So if you're celebrating maybe your 25th anniversary or your 50th anniversary or your birthday, you're slightly older and you're looking for a little more of a refined experience, you're going to get some really big ships, some really small ships in this space, not as big as your Royal ships or your NCL or your MSC ships, but very nice mid to large size ships where there are a lot of things to do, but you're not getting that wow factor of entertainment from an aqua theater, an ice skating rink, or anything like that. You're getting more of your kind of jazz club vibe, your shows where they're bringing singers on board or bands on board, where you get to see great acts, some great comedians, magicians, jugglers, all of those things. That is going to be those cruise lines. And then, of course, like we said, if you are up and above and you want that super elevated experience of like a Silver Sea, where you're more all-inclusive, you're getting amazing dining opportunities, you're getting your excursions included with your cruise, those are a little elevated. We'll talk about those in another video. But please, by all means, click the little quiz in the description and figure out what the best cruise line is for you. This is a very quick kind of summary version of all the cruise lines. But if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at jp@bitesizecruises.com. Post your questions below, or like I said, email me and let me know what you think, and fill out the little quiz and see what you get. We hope you have a great time, and we will talk to you soon. Happy cruising. Bye.